Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Playing World of Tanks. I'm AJ, and today we'll be looking at a game that I had in my IS3, which is the Russian Tier 8 heavy tank. Now on the map Tundra, again, I've said this many times, the hill is one of the most important locations on this map, purely because of how much area it controls as far as the map is concerned. So you should try to contest the hill always, just so to keep the enemies honest and not give them just the opportunity to shoot your teammates on the other side of the flank. I'm trying to get into the corner nook over here just because the reason for that is it keeps me RD safe, and also I can somewhat be a presence on the hill by lighting the tanks around the corner and shooting the tanks that are on the other side. Now before I can get into cover, the T-54 on the enemy team actually spots me, and this is sort of like a bad engagement already, I can tell, just because it's apparent that the T-54 was actually waiting for somebody to come up and he had his shot already aimed in. And that is exactly what happens. T-54 actually tracks me and does damage to me at the same time. What I can tell from looking at the T-54 that he actually has the stock gun, which means that he doesn't have that ridiculous APCR rounds, heat rounds on the T-54. Also, the fact that the T-54 has the stock turret, which means his turret is way weaker than what he would have with the upgraded turret. At this point, the T-37 also starts unloading into my track with HE rounds, and what I can do is just sit here and wait until he stops, because I don't want to use my repair kit, and I know if the T-54 comes out again, I do outtrade him, because he's gonna hit me for 240 and I'm gonna hit him for 390. Now I do somewhat use my repair kit just because once I fired at the T-54 and actually bounced, I was kind of not feeling so lucky at that time. I kind of felt that if I had let that engagement go any further, he would have actually killed me in the process. So I used my repair kit and sort of like get behind the rock that's in front, and just in the nick of time, since I bounced about 4 shells from the T-50 and numerous HE rounds from the T-37, I still had no idea what he was doing. Now as I see the E75 moving up around the corner, I know he's itching to just get around and shoot something, and I see behind me why most of the enemy team has actually either taken out most of the people that were with me, or they have just scattered and just left me here mostly by myself. So now's a good time to sort of like retreat, and I'm hoping not to get tracked again by the T-54. Now as I get around the corner, I try to open the distance between me and where the enemies are going to come from, and I'm also trying to get somewhat hull down so I do not actually take damage if actually they do decide to rush around the corner and fire on the move. And that's why, like, whenever you're like gonna try to hold the corner, you shouldn't be like up close, just because even if they do try to rush, just their sheer numbers, you won't be able to do enough damage. So you want to have like some sort of cover between them and yourself. Now I see the AMX 1375 being the first one to get bored on this thing on the hill, and he just YOLOs for me. Unfortunately for him, he's not particularly a good shot, and he doesn't try to actually circle me. And that's primarily because I was close to a hill, and it's kind of not possible for you to sort of like circle an IS3 if you're going up a hill. Next, the CDC YOLOs over the top of the hill as well. I put one shot into him, but at this point my attention is turned when the E75 just comes around the corner. As soon as he starts firing, I know that I'm kind of in trouble. I can't actually just stay in front of the E75. I have to close the distance, probably to his side. The reason being that once the E75 starts firing, I can actually hold my turret in front of his gun, which is the strongest part of his armor, and probably make him bounce a couple of shots in the process. Again, the E75 played that extremely poorly. He rushed in to where I was, and during that process I managed to get close to him and actually do significant damage. I actually didn't take any damage from the E75 in return for what I did. And now this frees me up and brings me to the important question of what should I do next. Should I go back to the hill and actually contest the hill, or should I go around? This is a great sort of like moment of indecision for me, and the reason for that is that I could potentially take out the T-54, but if the Skoda is there with him, I'm not gonna live. So it's I just have to wait and sort of like bide my time and see what the enemy does and sort of like react accordingly. As soon as I'm deciding what to do next, the Skoda sort of like presents himself in the middle. I decided to go there to help my teammate, but my teammate didn't live that long. So the next best thing what I could do is sneak in a shot and retreat, and that's exactly what I'm try to do. I go around the corner, I see the Skoda speeding off in the distance, I put a shot and just return behind the corner, not wanting to chase a tank that's way faster than me. Again, if you see me retreating further and further back, that's because I know I'm within a clip of what the Skoda can do in potential damage, and so I don't want to stick around and figure out whether he's gonna come back for me or not. So what I'd rather do is, you know, get ready for him actually coming back. So I keep on retreating until I'm somewhat hull down, where I know I can put at least 2 shots into him before he actually decides to, you know, kill me. Now during this long retreat, I'm also trying to figure out what is the enemy trying to do. Skoda, if he really wanted to do damage, you know, should have been back here while I was retreating, which I didn't see him, so it probably means he's not coming this way. If he's not coming this way, that leaves the hill open to be contested once again, and I know there's a T-54 up there, which is the biggest threat, and that's what I'm gonna go and deal with right now. Having learned from my previous mistakes, this time I actually do load an APCR round for the T-54, and surprisingly enough, he is actually just low enough health that I can actually take him out with 1 round. I see that tree falling in front of me, indicative that, you know, that either the T-54 or the other tank spotted on the hill is actually taking a defensive position around the corner. I see the T-54 sort of like come around the corner. He knows I'm gonna be a hard tank to pin. As he's angling, I shoot his inner track and actually manage to pin him and take him out, and that leaves the other tank, which gets taken out by Artie on the hill, and for the first time we managed to secure the hill. Now since we have the hill, I'm not going to proceed and try to chase tanks around, just because even though I am an IS3 and I'm relatively fast, Skoda can still kill me. So my biggest priority while climbing the hill was try to figure out whether I could actually take out the Skoda. And so as I'm climbing the hill and preparing to figure out which way the Skoda is going to be, the Skoda is actually spotted by one of our tanks in our base, and this makes my decision somewhat easier. I'm gonna just look in towards my base and figure out if the Skoda is sort of like not paying attention to what is happening the rest of the map, and I'm gonna wait and try to take him out. With the Skoda taken out, I hugged the nearest rock for dear life, just because I know both of the Arties probably have a hard-on for my tank right now. So I'm just gonna wait until you know, I'm not lit. I try to move forward when I think like my light's about to go off, just so to indicate to the RD that maybe I'm moving out, and the RD does take the bait and actually fires on the hill, and this time the MT-25 lights one of the RDs, and I decide to go assist him, and just in case the MT-25 gets taken out by the RD, which can happen as we know. However, there was no need for my assistance there. Friendly RD takes out the enemy, and that leaves us on a 2 versus 4 against the enemy team. But that somewhat turns quickly as the Waffle Panzer IV on our team gets sort of like caught out of place. The Kanarman puts 1 shot into him, and he already comes around the corner and actually shotguns him. But the good news for us was that now we know where both of the enemy tanks are. So what I do is I group up with the MT-25 and decide to go through the 7-8 line back towards our cab. Again, one important thing to remember at the end of the game is that you shouldn't split up. The reason for that is that you're going to be more punchier when you're together, and splitting up just makes it easy for an enemy team that's somewhat coordinated to take you out 1 by 1. So as we come around the corner, the RD is spotted going towards the hill, and I ping the MT-25 to go take him out, who, if I've not said this before, was definitely a hero in this match, and I decide to go after the Kanarvan. Now with the M12 taken out, I breathe a sigh of relief, and now I'm trying to figure out which way did the Kanarvan go, and the MT-25 takes to the hill to assist me in that process. Now this game is very close even at this stage. The Kanaran is fairly healthy and I know he's kind of in the open, but if for some reason he decides to shoot me and Amarak me, you know, and this could easily go the other way like super fast. So I'm kind of hoping that I don't get caught out by the Kanaran while I'm in the open and he's on the hill, just because penning him would be a nightmare if that was to happen. And it seems like what the Kanaran was gonna try to do is he was gonna go back for the MT25. HE loaded on the Kanaran. I think he's pretty sure he was either hunting for Artie or he was trying to hunt for the MT25, and he didn't have time to change his shell type. Now Kanaran plays this the opposite of how he should have played. He should have played it somewhat aggressively. He can easily out DPM me, I think. He fires a shot roughly every 6 seconds and I fire a shot roughly every 10 seconds. So he could have easily DPM'd me, but it seems like the Kanaran's just afraid of getting shot, and he does the worst thing possible. He keeps on retreating, and that just makes him easy target for me and the Artie. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you like somewhat what I had to say, and feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Playing World of Tanks.